How did you get drawn to this zone of meditation? What got you to this kind of life?
You'd be surprised. It was this dude called God, you know. God got me into meditation in a funny way because I grew up in a Hindu family, went to Catholic schools, and I was born in Ajmer, which is the Mecca for Sufism and Muslim, with
Nice.
Daga there.
My mother's birthplace too.
Really. And you know what was not making sense was someone telling me that it is in the scripture that my mom was reading. She's a lover of Guru Nanak, and it was the temple I was drawn to with this crazy guy with a thing coming out of his hair, Shiva, and then there was this Jesus hanging on the cross, and then someone said, no, it's the guy sitting on the cow, you know, the Krishna. And nothing was making sense. So I had this curiosity about something that I couldn't understand, you know, this concept of God. And that's when I kind of received the gift from existence, an audio tape where Osho was talking about forget God, there is only godliness. There is no God, there is only godliness within you. And meditation is the way to find that. Meditation is the way to live that. And my interest just at that time where nothing was making sense, I had invested my curiosity, my time to learn a lot about religions, and it was not making sense. So when I heard that line for the first time, I got excited about meditation. And then I was very lucky that at that time I was traveling to India many times in a year, and I just was at the gate of this gateless gate in Pune at the Osho International Meditation Resort, and purely for one interest, I wanted to learn what is the science of meditation. So that's my starting point in meditation.
If you could put a finger to this experience or a particular statement that kept you going into this field of meditation to understand the science further, what would that be?
Wow, beautiful question. It's now been many years, and this first journey was 25 years ago, Vandana. And what has kept me there is something magical happened, because when I went there for the first time, I was a single parent, and I was running multiple companies, and life as it is, it's just major stress and go, this madness. And as I participated in active meditations, the first magic that happened, and I didn't understand it then, but for the first time, I felt connected with my body. And something that I had not experienced, I was disconnected with the body. The entire energy, the operating system was in the head. So experiencing the connection with the body, and of course it's a beautiful place surrounded by beautiful people, I started to feel more, I started to see more color, connect more with people. So it almost felt like a different operating system kind of got kicked in, you know. Later I found out that that is the heart center, you know.
Operating system, which is the heart center. Beautiful. Yeah.
So Vandana, if one thing, if I could point out, if I could pinpoint to one thing that has kept me going in meditation, it is that.
Would you like to define meditation?
You know, meditation as a definition for me, it's the science of the inner for me personally. And that's how I approach it. That's how I now teach it around the world. So for me, it is purely the science of the inner. And I understand for many, it is like medication, you know, meditation is like medication, and it's beautiful. I have practiced this science simply as an art of being present to where life is happening. So wherever my life is happening. I have practiced meditation as an art of being present there in the most relaxed, most aware way. So for me, that's what it is. Like right now, if I'm present here fully and I'm aware, I'm relaxed, and I have no judgment about what is going on, I'm in meditation. So that's how I have experienced, practiced, and still continue to do so.
Meditation can be used as medication too. How would you elaborate on that?
Well, as I said, the unfortunate truth is that more than 70% of the hospital visits last year, just in America, were stress related. With bodies becoming so restless, mind is so wound up, emotions are so overburdened. I think we are all walking around as ticking time bombs, just ready to explode at the slightest trigger. So when stress is such a big dis-ease, it's causing so much havoc in the world. Active meditations, when I talk meditation, I simply refer to the science of active meditation, Osho active meditation.
Okay.
These meditations then become a doorway to release this overburdened emotions.
Okay.
Because see, we are carrying around, we are walking around with accumulation of incomplete events, our feelings that the body is wanting to release. Brain does its job. The brain releases the chemicals in the system. Everyone knows what stress and anxiety does. So body is looking for ways to release that. Now, obviously, we pretend that we are sane. We pretend to be walking this fine line where everything is fine. We smile. Yeah. But inside,
everything is fine. Everything is fine. But deep down, no.
Yes. So what meditation can do, what active meditation can do, is provide the body a vehicle for these emotions to go out. So that to me is one of the most phenomenal gifts Osho or these active meditations are for the world, that they provide in a very sane environment, in a very safe container for anyone to express these emotions out. So when you can do that, the magic happens.
Wow.
So that's why I say it's medication for many, many people.
Lovely. Well answered, Anil. How do emotions play havoc on the mind and its functioning, and how does meditation play a role in curbing it or helping you get out of it?
Well, we have three different brains. There is the root brain. The function of that part of the brain is to protect us.
Sure.
It is instinctual fears that come up. So if we feel and sense that sixth sense, so it's tense, that fear is natural. Then there are fears that happen, what is happening right now in the world, the fears that are coming up. And then there are these illogical, irrational fears that come up.
Okay.
So now mind, at some level, at the unconscious stem level, at the primal stem level, is doing its job. It's telling us that there is some danger, you need to take care of yourself, or if you are going too fast on the highway and then your brain, you get this feeling that, I might not be able to make this turn at this speed. So your brain basically is sending you a signal to slow down, that stop now, this is enough. So at that point also it's a rational fear. But beyond that, in the conscious brain, we sometimes have this illogical and irrational fears. Now that's the part that plays havoc. When we don't know what to do with them, we don't know how to stop them. That creates havoc in the mind, in our emotions. Now the other challenge is, as we were talking about before, that I am rushing to the airport and I feel I'm going to miss my flight, and I'm going to miss my flight. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my contract. I will lose the money. Now, based upon that, the brain releases the chemical. There's a tsunami. The amygdala basically switches into the fight flight mode. Adrenaline is released in the system. Now I get to the airport and I did not miss this flight. I got on the flight. I did not lose my job. Now the problem is now when I'm lying in my bed in the night, all these chemicals that were released basically lock. They do not have any way to process. The body did not get a chance to process. I did not get to release these emotions that I was accumulating. There was no way for me to process that. Now this trauma, this acid, this poison gets locked into the body.
Okay. Good experience.
And this creates a very big issue for the body, the psychosomatic issues, the discomfort and pain and disease in the body. Now, how meditation can help in two ways, meditation, as we were discussing, first is art of being present to where life is happening. So I still haven't missed the flight. I am here, I haven't missed the flight. So to be present here, when I can do that, the research now confirms, there was a research done at Harvard University, it is called introspection, that when I am present to where I am, and I do not let my brain run into would have, could have, should have,
okay,
I am controlling my brain from releasing this poison, this chemical that is not needed. So that's how meditation can help. It can keep us present to where we are. We haven't yet missed the flight. We haven't yet lost the job. And also at a deeper level, meditation also helps us to disidentify. But that goes on and on. And as a starting point, I'm just sharing a basic, and that is a proven research.
When you said disidentify, Anil, did you mean disidentify with the emotions that we go through? Or the feeling, the thoughts?
Well, see, there is this word of no mind that is used in meditation. That meditation is the state of no mind. So people think they're going to lose their mind. They'll become a zombie, a vegetable. But what that word, Osho explains it in a very beautiful way. I haven't anyone else talk about it so beautifully. He simply says it's a disidentification with the mind. So majority of our issues are our identification with what the mind is making us believe. And if we learn this art of disidentification with the body, with the brain, with the mind, that gap, that space is miraculous. What that space and gap can do, Vandana, is switch us from reacting to responding.
Reacting to responding.
So if I become one with the issue, in that moment, I can react. I can take out my gun and kill somebody, out of jealousy. I can, it happens here in America, so very easily.
I didn't want to be the one to say that.
I mean, you become one with what is going on and you can react. So as a meditator, you have the knack of taking some distance from it. And in this distance, you can choose to respond.
This is Sonia Katpalia, and she wants to ask that she has anxiety issues. So how does she deal with
it? This is a very broad question. Stress and anxiety happens to everybody. It happens to everybody, and again, how often does it happen? And what are the triggers? What is, what the body or mind are doing? So it cannot be answered in a quick way, but a quick thing is what she can try to do in any situation, which is a very beautiful technique, is practice the stop breathing, to really stop and breathe and recognize is the first word. Recognize what exactly is happening. Yeah. Where investigate what is at risk here.
Mm-hmm.
First, to pause and not push it away, recognize that something is happening. The body is saying something, the mind is saying something.
Mm-hmm.
To stop and recognize, I would suggest as the first step.
Mm-hmm.
Then investigating what really is at risk, what is going on, what is the mind saying, what will happen here, that the world will end, or this flight will not land, or I will lose everything I have. What exactly is going on? And stay with it, not push it away, stay with it, because part that is freaking out in us could use a lot of love and nurturing at this time. So staying with what is happening, acknowledging it, staying with it with a lot of love and kindness could be a starting point. Okay.
So, according, like you mentioned, in this body and mind being of me, right? It's my mind and my body. So, according to you, what's the role of the body in sustaining emotional baggage? Sorry, sustaining emotional baggage despite the conscious efforts of letting it go.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question, Vandana, because a kid who doesn't want to go to school because there is a nasty student or a bad teacher will always get a stomachache in the morning.
Yeah.
So, body is this canvas on which the mind can paint havoc. Mind can just create a dance around this. So when mind feels this trauma, when mind experiences something it cannot handle,
Mm-hmm.
it releases this chemical in response to do something about it. So when this chemical gets trapped into the body,
Mm-hmm.
like I didn't miss the flight, or I'm not able to say something to my spouse or my boss or my children. So when I'm unable to process that emotion,
Mm-hmm.
this stressor gets locked into the body muscles. It's called body armoring in the muscle fascia. This gets stored in the body. So body then stores this trauma. The unfortunate thing is once this trauma gets locked into certain part of the body, the brain in scientific ways disconnects from that part of the body. So that's why most of us are now walking very disconnected with our bodies, because there is so much stored trauma, unprocessed emotions and trauma in the body. And that's why active meditations are amazing gift, for anyone to try. They will see immediate benefit because in a very safe container and environment, you'll be able to process and release these emotions. So what happens is when this trauma gets locked into the body, the brain disconnects with that part of the body.
Mm-hmm.
Now think about that, not having the body that's living our life, having a numb body that doesn't feel anything,
Uh-huh.
you know, then what's the part of living?
Yeah.
What's the joy of?
Yeah. How do we live like this?
Well, we do, most of us, unfortunately, until you give yourself the gift of meditation, until you have the courage. Because, and nothing against any other meditation, because the meditations that are forcibly sitting down and watching your breath, closing your eyes, they were designed in the time 2,500 years ago. We
Mm-hmm.
were living in a different world then.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, from memory, I think the world population was about 60 million. 60 million people now live in Italy. It was so rare to see a new human being, something new. And
Yeah.
now you see how we are bombarded with information. So for the modern times, these active meditations, as they are designed by Osho, are so powerful to release, if nothing else, to release this blocked armor and trauma. Of course, physical work, because these meditations use dancing, breathing, jumping, catharsis, dancing. So not only are they fun, but at the same time, you're able to release this unprocessed emotions and trauma from the body.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they help.
And Rajesh Menon. from Delhi. He's asking this question that in my hectic life as a corporate head, I'm unable to get time to myself. How do I fit meditation to it? And my other question is, Anil, how did you manage this balance of work and meditation?
There is a very beautiful Zen saying that everyone should meditate for 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
And if you are really busy, you should meditate for an hour. Rajesh, you should meditate for an hour, perhaps, Well, see, if you understand what meditation is, so what we are doing is, it's in 4 steps, right? So the first step is very simple. We are doing things unconsciously. Okay. We are eating unconsciously. We are walking unconsciously. We are taking our shower unconsciously. So we reach to work. We miss everything in between. So the first step is to learn to do things consciously, what we are calling mindfulness now. So become present to what I'm doing. Paying attention with intent that I'm present to what I'm doing. So first is learning that art. And now that doesn't require extra time. You can bring this quality to little things that we do, and little things like brushing your teeth or taking a shower or driving your car, because you simply make a deep understanding within yourself that I will now eat mindfully or consciously, or I will walk consciously, I will speak consciously, drive consciously. So you're already beginning to move towards mindfulness meditation. Now, from there, when you are practicing, and of course you have to practice, you cannot learn to play a guitar or tennis or cricket without practicing. So you have to practice this next step of witnessing, of watching yourself, witnessing yourself doing it, that I am watching myself, I'm witnessing that. This was what we were talking about, taking the distance, the subject and the object. Mm-hmm. So this is where the witnessing comes in. Now, learning that takes techniques. There are many techniques available, and this requires time. Each meditation is an hour long, and it has to be approached purely like science. Like, we do not question or ever say that I don't have time to brush my teeth or shower. The number of benefits meditation offers, the number of benefits that are scientifically proven now in the last 20 years, because neuroscience has made tremendous progress. Mm-hmm. The question now Rajesh should be asking is, how can I not meditate? I mean, how can I not? Like, he never asked the question, how do I not shower? Yeah. Or how do I not eat, So all he has to do is just research or Google the endless amount of papers by every university for the benefits of meditation. And I bet you he will come back with a question, I can't believe I was not meditating.
What about the happy benefits of meditation, according to you?
Oh, come on. So many.
I feel the viewers and audience should jot down, should have a pen and paper while you're answering this.
I mean, the benefits, God, the proven benefits: compassion, intelligence, joy, love, silence, sensitivity. I mean, it goes on and on. The list goes on and on. When you are in your body, you feel the breeze more. You feel the taste of the food more. You feel the touch of your children and beloved more. I mean, your intelligence, when we are able to give our mind a break, think about, from the space of the heart, so much creativity is born. I mean, the list is endless.
But thanks for answering that. This is from Sachin Gupta. He's from Gorakhpur. And he says, good morning, ma'am and sir. Good morning, Sachin. I would like to ask, while meditation, I go to a new world where negative thoughts govern my mind. And so I quit doing it after 10 to 15 minutes. Now, what do we do here?
It is perfectly normal. They are within you. You cannot ignore them. You cannot avoid them. There is no negative or positive. The bottom line is, they are inside us. This is the volcano we are sitting on. So what? What kind of negative thoughts? Now imagine if you have to do a role in a movie where you have to play a madman. So the Osho dynamic meditation gives you an opportunity to play the madman with sanity, with awareness. For 10 minutes, you let this madness come out. There is the gibberish meditation that allows you to bring this madness out consciously. You let it go. So if it is within you, it is like saying, I have a wound or I have something that stings and I'm not going to open it, I'm not going to look at it. On the contrary, it is natural.
Yes.
We all have amazing, we are processing 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. But the truth is 95% of them are repeat thoughts. They're not new thoughts. They're just repeating endlessly. The loop goes on and on. So they can be that scary.
Yes, I think the audience will identify with what you said. The repetitiveness of the thoughts is what actually creates an issue in your head, and you wouldn't know how to stop this mind chatter.
Yeah. So if you start labeling them, if you start labeling this endless thoughts, you will not find more than 5-6 labels.
Mm-hmm.
It's planning, it's fantasizing, it's processing unfinished business.
To-do list.
Yeah.
All the time, to-do list. Laundry list, it's called. Once a friend of mine who's also a meditator, he says, why does meditation come at the end of a laundry list? It should be the first, as you said, on our to-do list, like brushing your teeth or going for a shower. Why? And to begin with, if Sachin feels that his mind wanders, I think it's allowed. You have to let it go where it wants to come, but you be in the meditation and enjoy the benefits of it. And gradually, as you practice and practice, be mindful, witness, you gain all these features over a period of time. It does not happen the first day you decide to sit. And the other thing, what I learned, and by experience again, I would say that the science or the benefits or even the effects of meditation start from the day you start doing it. From the day one, the effects are there in your body. Maybe the result or your observing of yourself happens a little later. So give yourself that much time. You deserve that. As you told Rajesh, that instead of 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you should meditate for an hour. So it's your own understanding. Yes, Anil.
What you just shared also has tremendous amount of valid science behind it. So when we actively choose a different behavior, so if we have a pattern that I'm not going to get up, I'm not going to go to gym, I'm not going to do this, so if we follow the same neural pathways, so the human brain is like a circuitry of pathways that light up. So if we continuously travel the same path, we always do the same thing. Now, of course, when we try and take a different path, just try and take a different road to your office one day, and your mind goes crazy because you are changing your habit. So when we change something, we light up a new circuit. Yeah. So we've been going this way every day, and now I start to do something different. Now, when I do that, I actually light up a different neural circuit, a neural pathway. A new synaptic connection is made. Now, science proves that if we do this for 4 days, 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, the more we practice that. So doing it the first time is half the journey. But after that, it's all about practice. It's all about practice. So as we practice it, this pathway becomes the primary pathway. So Serena Williams doesn't become the champion by doing it one day. Santana doesn't become the amazing guitar player practicing it one day. Neither can we in our meditation in one day. We need to practice it, and one day it becomes a hardwired synaptic connection. Yes. Like this can be hardwired as a habit through repetition. This can also be hardwired through repetition. Yes. But when we actively involve the body, the chances are very, very, it can happen much quicker. It can happen much quicker. And that's the power of the body. If you get your body involved, affirmations don't make the difference. Affirmations don't make the change. It is the action.
Action. Yes. Yes, sir. You nailed it. Thank you. Thank you again for this answer. You can give me an example of your life, how it has changed you as a person. I want your personal example. Use an instance or whatever you would like, however you would like to answer this to me.
As I shared with you, what it did for me, it connected me more with my heart.
Mm-hmm.
It connected me more with my heart. It allowed me some space, some gap where I'm able to respond to things now. It's not that shit doesn't happen. It's not that earthquakes don't come for me or tsunamis don't happen. You know, everything happens here. But the key is how we respond uh, to what is happening. Our capacity to respond changes, and that's what has happened for me, and that's what has kept me in here. Is there is some space, you know, between what is going on and how I respond to it. So that's one of the only things that I can share with your audience.
And this is again coming from Delhi, from Mr. Pankaj. He suffers from OCD and obsessive thoughts. Since we have answered around this area, but I will repeat the question. And this restricts his regular life and creates a lot of anxiety. How can meditation help? And the next sentence, he says, he even suffers from depressed feelings and feels that meditation can help, but does not know what to do about it. So, Pankaj, this is your answer from Anil. Anil, all yours.
Well, you know, I don't answer these questions as a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I answer these questions as a meditator. So that's very important for the listeners to know that.
Mm-hmm.
So, see, I really encourage everyone to first take the time to understand what meditation is and what the research for meditation is about, you know, how the brain functions. So the most important thing that I think the gift has happened in neuroscience is called neuroplasticity,
Mm-hmm.
that the brain is constantly changing, it's adaptable. First it was believed that once we grow up our brain is hardwired, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
But now, in the last 20 years, they have found out that our brain is constantly adapting and changing.
Right.
This was termed neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
The example I was giving you, when I choose a new behavior, when I practice a new behavior, when my brain sends the signal to my body and my body returns the signal back after completing the action, I am hardwiring a new connection. So, understanding meditation in steps.
Mm-hmm.
The first, that from unconscious to conscious, conscious to the watching part, the witnessing part, then comes the awareness part. So take time to understand what meditation is. One of the big challenges, and I lived in India for many years. I've been living in US now for 35, but I have lived in India. And one of the challenges in India is that meditation has a lot of wrong connotations attached to it. I
Okay.
can't tell you how many people ask me when I started meditating 25 years ago. I was young, and can't tell you how many people ask me, "Why are you meditating at this age?" You know, because in Indian technology, you are supposed to meditate after you retire. That's
Yeah,
the last
I
stage of
have
your life.
heard from a youngster that meditation is good. I know it has a lot of benefits, but it's not right now for me. He is 20, 22. He says this to me.
Correct. Correct. So, you know, and then there is another part of the meditation, what meditation is supposed to be, you know, because you see these postures, you see the head stained, and you see people sitting in samadhi and all that.
Mm-hmm.
See, I would encourage anyone who's dealing with, you know, issues that we are talking about, OCD. I mean, we are all OCD in some ways, you know. We are all doing crazy, compulsive things.
Right,
You know, somebody's counting their money, somebody's checking their Facebook and Instagram messages.
right.
It's not just about washing your hands. It is not just about checking if you're to your door. I mean, if you're checking your messages every 2 minutes, you know, you have OCD.
Yeah.
So OCD is not a problem. Most of us have it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Depression, most of us have it. You know, we go through it. It comes and goes for some. For some, it stays forever. So these things have not to be looked as a very big thing. Is my personal suggestion and experience that we all hit a low. We all have issues. So starting point is I am aware of it and I'm willing to do something about it. Now, the research is that if I learn the art of being present, right? So now this thing comes up in me that the world is going to end.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a trigger that the world is going to end. I will have no job. I'll have no money. There will be nothing left, blah, blah, blah. So I have learned the art of meditation, which is to be present here. Has it really ended? At the moment, it is standing. My flight is still in the air. It hasn't crashed. I'm still here, right? So when I do that, instantly the amygdala brain stops releasing this chemical. When it releases the signal and it goes to the body, and the body has not participated. My heartbeat hasn't gone up. I'm not sweating. My body is not sending the signal back. Now, what kind of feeling would it be if the body is not participating in it? Yep. So if my body is sitting in the present and relaxed and aware, I have very high probability of staying cool and calm. Now I have to practice it. If I do it in small things, then I have to learn to repeat it again in another thing. Repeat it again. And soon we start crawling, then walking, then running. You cannot start running right from day one. But you have to get your first experience. And the first experience is staying present in this moment, yet this bad thing hasn't happened. And do what is needed here. Use this energy to create the action. Now, the second part of the meditation, you got some distance from it. That yes, a part of me is freaking out. So, and nothing wrong with it. So those are my two answers.
In the current scenario of COVID-19, the people who already felt anxious and have OCD or depressed feeling are going to another level. A regular person also is facing a lot of emotions that he or she is not aware of, and they are bewildered to go through these emotions. So what would be your comment on this?
Well, as I said, fear is natural. In these circumstances, fear is natural. When things happen with planning or unplanned, so there are three kind of people who basically, in California, we get earthquakes, and pandemics and lockdowns are happening here as well. So this fear can put people in three modes, So you go in the fear mode, you go in the learning mode, or you go in the growth mode. So
I'd like you to repeat that. What did you say? Fear?
When fear is triggered, you can go in the fear mode, you can go in the learning mode, or you can go in the growth mode. Three different modes.
Okay, nice, yeah.
So when fear comes in, now something bad is happening and nothing I can do. Is it in my control? Is it not in my control? Now this period is not in my control. So I have to choose my battle. What am I fighting against? The second thing that is a problem here is most people really have a negative self-talk, that they are constantly saying, I do not have the skills. I do not know how to deal with it. I don't have what it takes to survive. Their self-esteem, their self-confidence to deal with this is so low. So that second category of people really self-talk themselves to paralysis.
Okay.
Now, if that's the case, of course, then people run for the fear can make you run and buy more toilet paper. Fear can really start a really amazing learning process. So what if? So what if this happens? What exactly do I need to do? So if I will make less money, can I rebudget? Will I have to learn a new skill? Can I relearn? Can I realign? Can I readjust? So this time also is for the learning kind, for the intelligent kind, to be able to see what are my resources. Make a list of your resources. Make a list of what would it take for you to prevent this. Like, for example,
but please take your points. Anil is sharing something really which would be of great help to all of us during this time. Yes, Anil.
So like back in the days when credit cards did not exist and we were traveling to foreign countries, we would get these, what was it called? the money that we spend.
Travel checks. Travel checks.
So, so we were afraid of losing. So it was not that we did not travel. You know, we made precautions. We bought traveler's checks. You know, so they were. So the fear is there, but what can I do to prevent it? What are my resources? Who can I call? Can I get a bank loan? Can I do this? Can I do this? Make a list, because every challenge is an opportunity. Some of the biggest, if you look at the list, 65% of the world's top 1,000 companies are born during crisis. 65% of the world's companies. Every crisis really gives birth to new opportunities in business. I was jokingly saying to someone the other day that Earth is in trouble, but the cloud seems to be doing really fine. All the technologies of the sky and cloud are doing really well. Earth is in trouble. I mean, you know, look at how many new technologies have emerged, you know, so quickly.
Yes.
So there are always opportunities. Yes, there is difficulty. Yes, there is fear, but there are always opportunities. And if you can really go beyond that, you know, then comes the growth mode. The growth mode is making your living beyond yourself. The unfortunate thing that I'm noticing around the world is some of the most successful, some of the most amazing people are freaking out more than the poor and the needy, than the workers itself. So we are the fortunate ones. It's time for us to share. It's time for us to be the mentors and support the people. If we start jumping the ship, where's the ship going to go? You know, if we just keep watching the poor die of hunger on television, and we start, if people like us, if business owners, if, you know, leaders worry, who will be the savior here? Who will do the job?
Absolutely.
And everyone's looking toward the sky. There is no God. There is no one going to come down and do this work.
Yes.
The people who have the physical health, financial health, spiritual health, emotional health, we are the lucky ones, you know. Yes. We have to create a system. And there is always a way. And I think this is the time to be more compassionate, more friendly, more loving, you know, more everything to each other and to especially the ones in need.
Beautiful, Anil. Thanks. That suppose we lose a loved one and we go through our bodily changes, our mind is on a different level, and sometimes it is sudden, and at times you know that there is an end to this particular individual. How do we cope up with that, and how meditation can guide us through?
Well, see, now this is one of the original 6 emotions, the sadness, you know, about losing a loved one is a very real and natural emotion. It takes time. Yes. Bereavement and healing of a loss of a loved one takes time, you know. My only suggestion is that all the trauma that we cannot handle, the suddenness of it, the shock of it.
Shock, yes.
When we are not able to handle this one, then what happens? You just don't want it to get stored into your body. So most system, you know, whatever you can do to keep the body and the energy moving. Body has 57 trillion cells in it. They love to, you know, the body loves to move. So as difficult as it is while we are, you know, grieving a loss or anything, I think movement is the key. If the body moves, neurologically, we do amazing wonders and benefits for the body. And in time, you know, grief takes time. You know, this loss of a loved one takes time. You just don't want to let it accumulate in as a muscular tension in the body anywhere.
So maybe for few people, it could be a little faster than the others?
I mean, of course, it is depending upon what triggers in you. I have seen people, there is love, loss of love, that always stays as a very sweet missing in the heart, you know. But then there is loss that is guilt, that I could have, would have, should have, you know. That is a bigger problem, you know. Now the person is gone. Now you can say, I love you, or I'm sorry to somebody. So that stored trauma takes time. Now that stored trauma can require therapy, can require And how active meditations can help again is to connect with that part of the body. If you have loss of job or some sort of a guilt, shame around trauma, then that usually gets stored in this one particular part of the body. Find out where in the body it is stored, and then use some help, get some therapy, get someone to help you, or use some active meditation. As I said, there are brilliant meditations around breathing, around catharsis, around dancing. So use movement to release the trauma from the body. And
So the key
also
is
get some,
movement. Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
yeah,
Key is
or get movement. Yeah. So through active meditations, uh, very powerful techniques, through physical work with a therapist, and then of course whatever else you have to take to deal with it.
how much freedom and space we have to give to our husband, to a husband-wife relationship, and what is the balance that they can create in a relationship?
I don't know. I recommend this book. I recommend this book, Love, Freedom, and Aloneness. Is one of my favorite book. I have given a copy of that to dozens of friends. So please ask her to get that. Love, Freedom, and
Love,
Aloneness.
love, freedom, and aloneness. So I got to know this is again Miss Katpalia who had asked the first question too. So Miss Katpalia, Love, Freedom, and Aloneness is the book that you should read, and other viewers too. They should read this.
Yeah.
How would you like to sum up the whole meditative environment that we should be able to create within ourselves, our home, and then spreads out to the world?
I first again appreciate you giving me a chance. I had no idea what we will be talking about in some ways from your audience and platform. And I'm very touched at the subject and the questions that you and your viewers have asked. I can only say one thing: what changed my living, what transformed a lot of things for me, was the science of meditation. And I did not learn meditation as a sect or a cult or for per se the master. I never met Osho in body. For me, they are a science.
Mhm.
Approach meditations as a science. Approach meditations from that understanding. And just with little, set a target, that it has to be done. And once you start doing it with some understanding, you will start seeing the change. There is no shortcut to it. There is no shortcut. You have to do it, whether you do it today or you do it in pain, or whether you do it after your doctor prescribes to you. No one has time until your doctor tells you, or your life, because body knows how to get attention. Body will get attention.
Mm.
70% visits to the doctor is not a small number.
Mm.
Uh, 50, 60% failed relationships, not a small number.
Yes.
So,
It's growing.
yeah, and we don't have to really wait. We don't have to really wait until the body starts screaming. Um, Enough research is there to support it as a science, approach it as a science, and make the time to do it. In little things, as we discussed, it doesn't have to be big. There's this beautiful book. I actually had kept it here to show it to your viewers. I think they can get it.
Show me.
This book here.
Yeah, nice. I hope everybody can see it, or we'll be putting it up again for all of you. Yeah, 21-day workout. Yeah.
It's got 21 meditations. There is a meditation for busy people, also a very small book with 21 meditations. They're both also available as apps on the mobile. They have little techniques for wherever you are. You can apply them. But the key is, if you really understand it, then what you're doing becomes very easy. So first, take the time to understand it, or even better, just jump into it and do it.
I think I like the jumping part of it more. Understanding can follow, because you have to take that leap. You have to jump into it. That worked for me. I just jumped into it, and then just the world changed. The colors, as you said, the colors changed. Wow, was this available to me? And I was not ready to look at it. and then it's crazier than any drug addiction. It's why the perspective is beautiful. So, viewers, I would like to wind up this morning with Mr. Anil Chandwani, and thank you so much again for giving us this opportunity to go ahead with your sharing and widening our perspective where your own experience is concerned, because personal experience always makes a larger difference than just reading it in books. Is been So I would just like to conclude with what Anil just mentioned. Is first is the jump, if you don't want to understand it. Next is the approach. Approach meditation as a science. Don't wait for a god, but look for the godliness around the whole universe that we are surrounded with. And there are no shortcuts, my friends, no shortcuts for me, for him, or any of you. You have to take the plunge and always be in the present. It's now, here, instead of nowhere. So be in the present, my friends, and don't wait till your body screams at you or is pushing you to the brink. Start it where you feel the energy and you begin. That's your day one, and you begin it from that day, because there is no day. It's like infinity. There's no last day to the day you can meditate. You can meditate forever. And I saw a question which, instead of asking Anand, I will answer. A viewer has asked, what is a good time to meditate? Dude, anytime. Just do it. Doesn't matter which time, doesn't matter where you're sitting, where you are, situation, circumstance, all that is of no significance. The significance is how you can be present, be mindful, witness your own feelings, and just be there for yourself. Enjoy the meditative techniques and the meditation. Righto, Anil? Is that good?
Vandana, also just for lots of resources are available on the
Yes.
website on osho.com. So viewers can get there, and if they feel like connecting, feel free to share my social media contact with them. I'll be happy to answer.
Yes.
Because I'm sure we did not get to all the questions, but if there's anything I can connect or help with, I'll be available.
Sure, I'm going to take that. Definitely. I'm going to take that offer, Anil. And whatever questions, viewers, I would like to repeat, will be answered either by Anil or me or my team, and you will receive it very soon. And if anybody needs to connect with Mr. Anil Chandwani, his Instagram page is resetcode. Kindly look at it. And if you guys want to connect with me, I am Anatta Humanversity, and the numbers and details are all going to reach you all. And feel free to connect with us. COVID times or no COVID times, we are available to you. All right.
Keep doing the great work. Doing the great work, Vandana.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.